Every day you put your life on the line to protect and serve. Who's protecting you? United Badges Insurance Services operates as a dedicated resource for the first responder public safety community. Serving thousands of first responders, United Badges offers a wide range of products including commercial insurance, group accident and health insurance, and personal insurance such as auto, home, renters, rental properties, vacation properties, boat, motorcycle, RVs, flood, and umbrella. United Badges serves active and retired public safety personnel, public safety agencies, public safety associations, public safety support businesses, and public safety families and friends. Experience the United Badges difference. Call 800-566-5990 or visit unitedbadges.com to request your free insurance quote today. United Badges Insurance Services is a proud strategic partner of the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association. Applicants are individually underwritten by each respective insurance carrier and subject to insurance policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states. Promotional material for descriptive purposes only. Welcome to The Tactical Pause, the official podcast of the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association. I'm John Creamer, Deputy Executive Director of FDSA. Each episode, I sit down with law enforcement thought leaders to tackle critical issues shaping the future of public safety. Together, we'll explore key topics that empower law enforcement professionals to navigate challenges, lead with confidence, and advance their careers. Take a pause, gain valuable insights, and lead your career with purpose. Thanks for listening. On this episode of A Tactical Pause, join us for part 2 of our conversation with Orange County Corporal Jeffery James-Potts, or as we like to call him, JP. JP goes into a very detailed conversation about what happened when he was freed after being held hostage in the Orange County jail. We talk about his physical injuries and the injuries that most people didn't see with the emotional injuries that took place, and how Jeffery built back and had the support of Orange County Sheriff John Mina and the road to resiliency. Join us for this in-depth conversation, and take note, this is a serious subject matter and at times is very graphic.
I get drug across the floor by a SWAT medic who's an amazing guy. Recently, it's been like 6 months now. Promoted to corporal, great guy. He drags me into the main booking area, big octagon style room, massive, and I eventually get put on my feet, and I'm just screaming. I am losing my mind because I want them to take me out of handcuffs. So I want to go back in there and put him in handcuffs and take him to jail. I was so angry. And I remember the SWAT medic looked at me and he's like, dude, you've been shot. You need to go to the hospital. And I'm just so angry, like, no. And excuse my language. But I'm like, fuck that. I'm taking him to jail. Yeah, he's going. He's like, no. You need to go to the hospital. You've been shot, dude. I remember he was going down my purse and just patting me down, going under my vest, just looking for any bullet holes. I didn't have any, thankfully. And I was a young, slick sleeve deputy at the time, kind of new.
Yeah.
And especially with my history in the military and then just the amount of respect I have for people in certain positions, I've never raised my voice at someone above me. That's just not something I do. But for some reason, we talk about like psychology, you have your id, ego, and super ego. I felt like my id was a little control in this moment because I remember looking at correctional sergeant and I said, hey, get these fucking handcuffs off me. Like, no ounce of respect. I was just telling someone to do something for me. The first time I've ever kind of done that.
Yeah.
And he comes over and he just kind of, absolutely. Comes over and just unhooks me. Like, it was weird for me. So they take the handcuffs off, and I'm walking through the facility as they're escorting me, in a roundabout way, back out the main Sallyport entrance. And as I come down a hallway, I exit to the first Sallyport area where my partner was at. And this was my partner who responded to the scene of the initial traffic stop and had searched my bag a couple times. And at the moment, I was so angry with him. I screamed at him. I cursed him out. I hated his very existence. I was like, this is all your fault. You did this to me. I was awful to him. Absolutely awful. And if he hears this, I hope he knows. I mean, I've told him this in person too, so don't worry. This isn't like the first time I would ever say this, but I've apologized. Like, I felt absolutely awful. I don't know. I felt so angry and had to feel like I had to pass it on. And this was not a fair guy to put it on to. And he came back after hearing my radio call and hearing me get on the radio. Like, that wasn't fair of me. I was just so angry. So So after doing that, and he was crying. I don't know. That's a regret I definitely have. Many from that day, but that's a regret I definitely have. And
yeah.
I remember walking out the gate, the final gate leading out to John Young Parkway, which runs north-south alongside of our booking and receiving facility at the Orange County Jail. And when the doors open, it's just a sea of police cars. And if you watch the news article or anything about the video, we're talking hundreds of officers and deputies and troopers. It's crazy. The different municipalities, just a sea of flashing lights. It was wild. And we're passing this group of Orlando police officers to my left. And it was like, I want to say 20 or 30 guys just kind of hanging out there. And they just kind of looked at me like, oh my God, dude, you've been shot. And I'm like, me? I was like, yeah, dude, you look awful. Are you okay? You look like you're dying. I'm like, no, I'm fine. What are you talking about? And they put me in the back of the ambulance, and the paramedics and firefighters who are there are like, all right, any medical conditions are concerning you about? I was kind of like just sitting there, just like, no, not really. And then I recall back to the thing he said on the radio. I was like, oh, yeah, he said he had COVID-19 on the radio. I don't. And then the doors slam shut. Everybody jumps out, and I'm just kind of in there by myself. I talk about I knew, and especially in the military, and a little bit in law enforcement. I remember they talk about you're supposed to like the feelings you have during critical incidents. And I remember sitting there in the ambulance. I didn't feel anything. I was like, I'm sure I'm supposed to feel something. Like this doesn't feel right. Like there's something wrong here. There's something wrong with me. Like I don't feel anything. So I'm just kind of sitting there, just kind of laying back. So the first thing I do is I try to make myself depressed. Like I try to think of sad thoughts and just to try to feel something, and nothing happens. Obviously you can't force yourself to feel something. You just feel. Yeah. So the next thing I do is I try to be angry. So I stand up and I kind of pace and I try to just, like you mentioned the Hulk earlier in our conversation, just kind of anger and throw some anger and nothing. I even tried punching one of the cabinets. I didn't punch it that hard. So there's no damage to the ambulance, I promise, but nothing. I didn't feel anything. So I sit back down and it felt like mere seconds later, the doors open. And the SWAT medic who drugged me sat inside. And I remember looking over to him. I was like, and he had no PPE, no mask on, no nothing. And I was just like, hey, dude, they're getting masks and stuff outside. Are you okay? Like, is everything okay? He's like, dude, I don't care, man. I'll make sure you're good. Like, talk about a dude, man. Like, just what a great guy. Amazing. So he sits down next to me. And then the paramedics eventually come in. There's two that get in the back of the ambulance bay, and they both have masks and stuff on. They asked me to sit on the gurney, and they put a couple leads on me, and then the cuff for the blood pressure, the little oxygen, finger cap thing, whatever it's called. And all of a sudden you hear the siren starts screaming, and we're flying to the hospital. And on the way, I'm like, well, I think I need to call my wife and let her know what happened. So I don't have my cell phone with me. Actually, when this whole incident occurred, when SWAT's doing great SWAT things, SWAT does what SWAT does, and my phone was destroyed during the incident. I don't actually blame SWAT. I don't actually know what happened to my cell phone, but it was definitely destroyed after the incident. But
when you're on SWAT, you get paid to break things, so they did it.
Right. Since then, we have a program called Blue Team, which we do to address liability issues and different things. And I have done a number of these for SWAT, and how our agency does it, since they're supporting us in our investigation, like serving warrants and stuff. They'll come, execute as they need to, address the concerns they need to, and then they get back in the Bearcats and they take a 10-8. And then I'm there taking pictures. And so I've done the paperwork thereafter, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize how true a statement it was. And I want to make it clear, I admire the Orange County SWAT team. Can I do some shout outs to some phenomenal individuals on there?
Yeah, do it, man. Yeah.
So Lieutenant Chris Gunn, amazing guy. Lieutenant Ryan Donovan, who was a sergeant at the time of my incident, amazing guy. Kyle Nossaman, members of our SWAT team. Oh my goodness. A patrol captain I worked under after this, I didn't realize was the actual incident commander for our SWAT team, Captain Dennis Ela. And I talked with him after it, and we didn't talk a lot, but just what a great leader. Just what great passion and compassion at the same time. Like when I say we're blessed with capable individuals in one aspect, that's definitely one of them. I couldn't be more appreciative. So
yeah. A lot of heroes rose that day, including you.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh my goodness. Like the first deputies inside the room, and the Sally Port going in there and addressing the threat, being ready to deal with what they need. Wow. Just,
yeah.
Wow. And there's so many, and I'll talk about it later, I promise. But,
you can't name them all. There's so many people, and I hope you saw that sea of police cars, that they were there for you. I hope you remember that. They were there for you.
Yeah, but it's interesting you say that, because I don't see that in the positive that you do, as strange as that is. You say they're there for you, which you're probably definitely right. I view it as they're there because of me.
I know you feel that way.
So, and we can talk about it more, but this is something I'm still dealing with. I have a lot of guilt for this. If it wasn't for you and the work I've done with the FDSA, and the FDSA is an incredible organization, I wouldn't be on this podcast, because this is embarrassing for me to talk about, at least for me. I don't like talking about this at all. As strange as it sounds to say this in the podcast and telling it out loud, like, this is the first time I've talked about it recorded, because I don't like it being recorded, because I don't ever want to hear what I say again. That's why I like to do live presentations.
Let me say this too. So,
sure.
When every man has his battles, every person has their battles. Yours is just very, very public, right? And the fact that John Wayne said, courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. And that's you, JP, right? You're saddling up every day. You're in full uniform now. You're going to go to work in a little bit, in spite of what we're talking about now. And you have the courage to talk about it, because there are lessons learned. And what our listeners don't know is, for me and people like you and I, the more we talk about something, it's the easier it is to cope with it, the easier it is to grow from it. And you're still processing. You're in a lifelong, in my opinion, no fault of your own, you were put in a lifelong learning lesson, and you're embracing it. So I applaud you for that. But that's one of the big reasons you speak, and one of the reasons we have you come speak for our deputies. So I am grateful for that. So let's talk about you get to the hospital, or in your first interaction with your wife.
Yeah. So my wife. Yeah. So I have an Apple Watch on, and I call her through my Apple Watch, and my wife is a Disney cast member. What that means, that cast members are a term for employee. It doesn't mean she's what they call on stage or walking around the parks. People often ask her when they ever introduce her like that. She's like, "Oh, what Disney princess do you play?" And that plays so well to her ego, and she loves it. But she's currently a manager at the parks, and so she doesn't have a direct affiliation with law enforcement. She doesn't have a lot of experience with this. I don't talk about this at home. I try to truncate that as much as possible, like compartmentalize that information, because I try to make home, and I hate using this word safe space, but a place that I can just come to and just decompress by myself. But I don't want to bring that home to her, because I don't feel that's fair.
Right.
We met before I was on the job, so she came on this ride with me. And I wanted to make that as minimal as possible, because I've seen what this experience can have to people living underneath it. So I want to make that as small as possible. So I remember calling my Apple Watch, and I was just like, "Hey, babe, I need to come to the hospital right now. I've been taken hostage." Her first reaction being like, "Ha ha ha. Okay, what's going on? How's your day? How are things going?" I was like, "No, check the news. I was taken hostage at the jail. I need you to come to the hospital right now." And you could tell it took a couple seconds for things to connect. And then I don't know if she turned on the TV or searched a news article on the internet, but she goes, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm on my way. Which hospital?" I'm like, "ORMC, Orlando Regional Medical Center, downtown in Orlando, the big one." She's like, "Okay, I'm coming right now." And she gets in her car and she flies down I-4, and gets to the hospital. I get there before her, obviously. And As we're driving there, I'm noticing police cars blocking intersections, like shutting down roadways for me to get to the hospital. They made this concerted effort. I pull up into the ambulance bay, and there's like a small row of deputies like blocking people from coming in. I'm not sure if it was to obstruct any threats or something, or try to limit public view. But that was amazing. And the deputies I encountered at the hospital, one of them, Chris Wark, who I worked with for a while, was a nice sight to see. Like, I don't know if it was people doing it intentionally in leadership or people who hopefully thought highly of me. I'm hoping, and I say this with a lot of hope, that volunteer themselves to be the people to respond to the hospital, because it was all people I knew initially, at least at like my rank, or people I've been experienced with. The first supervisor that was there is a woman who I might mention a lot. Her name's Margaret Kelt. She's now a sergeant with our agency. At the time, she was a corporal. And if we ever talk about leadership and experiencing leadership from the bottom looking up, she's another person I tried to model myself after, just for the ferocious compassion, if that makes sense. I like to equate her to
I hope she hears this.
Yeah, I hope so too. A mama bear mentality, like, and hopefully I don't detract from this conversation so much, but it's a very brief segue, I promise. I remember we responded to the scene of a search warrant, and we were asked to help search a trailer that SWAT had pumped a bunch of CS gas into. And they're like, we need you to come in and search this. And this was day shift that already deployed and done it. And those deputies were taking off, and we were the evening shift or a swing shift coming in. We're kind of like, why do we have to search? Why not them? But okay. So we put on our gas masks, and we're going to this trailer, and it's nasty. It's full of stuff. And it is just a miserable experience. Well, we're in there for 30 minutes, and we come back out, and I call her. I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is kind of wild. This sucks. Like, why are we doing this? She's like, you're doing what? Why? And then she finds out a little after that they had already found what they were looking for in the search warrant outside, that we didn't even need to search the trailer. And she gets angry. She shows up to the scene, and she's a corporal acting as a sergeant, because we didn't have a sergeant at the time. And she's facing off with the day shift sergeant, who's maybe a year or two away from retirement, super senior sergeant, super senior guy, and then the lieutenant standing to the left of her. And she is in the middle of the road just screaming at him in his face like a drill sergeant. She's like, you do not use my guys, and just, I've never seen so much devotion and dedication and care and consideration for her people until that moment. And I was just floored. I was like, no one's ever cared enough about me like this. And even in the military, I've had great leaders in the military. I'm not trying to diminish that, but I've never seen them take such a public view of them caring about me. And I was like, to the great adversity, like, she's a corporal, and you have a sergeant and a lieutenant. Like, this could be adverse to her career. Kind of one of those moments that she didn't care. Yeah,
we used to call that a potential CLM, a career limiting move.
Interesting. That's
right. And what she's doing is she's showing genuine leadership to the point that you're motivated by it, and I'm, as an old dog, still motivated by it. That's what you're supposed to do. A sergeant or a corporal is not only there to lead the troops, but it's also to buffer the bullshit that comes down the hill.
Absolutely. So. And I couldn't have been more impressed and more floored. And even after that, I've been through the gas chamber in the military, but I was just not having it. I knew how it worked. Like, I knew it stuck to your clothes, and that was going to be with me all day. And I was just starting my shift. Like, this is the beginning of an 11.5-hour shift. So this would be only the rest of me. So I just looked at her, I was like, ma'am, I need to go home. I'm going to take a shower. I'm just done. This is stupid. She's like, absolutely, go home. The rest of the day is yours. Do what you need to do. Not a problem. And I respected her a lot for that. So going back to the hospital, she was the first one there. Like, and she was not my boss anymore. Like, she was in a different unit. I was in a different area. We had talked a little bit, but we weren't really close. We've gotten much closer since then. But she volunteered herself. She was right there. She was ready to jump down anybody's throat. She's going to make sure everything happened for me. And she limited people getting into me because I was still in a weird way. And she was there for my wife, which is the most important part. And because I felt like my wife was kind of overwhelmed with what was going on. There was no way there'd be an advocate for her, and she absolutely was. And I think it was the first time they even met. and no, they had been to my wedding. So she came to my wedding, met my wife there. I stand corrected. But I just floored. Amazing leader, amazing woman, amazing leader. And again, someone I idolize, and I tell her this a lot, and she's so humble about it. She's like, I don't do anything special, things like amazing leader. I hope she does amazing things in this agency. It's just great. But going back to the hospital, so a deputy shows up, and her name's Julia Smith, and we had only worked together, I think, once or twice. And once was working an off-duty shift or a non-duty shift at a theme park where we're standing in front of the turnstiles to address any threats. And it was just a good time. Like, we were saying hi to kids, we're making jokes together, and made an 8-hour shift a lot more bearable. Great deputy. And she came, snap of a finger. She was there, having my back. I asked her to take some pictures of my face so that way I can have them and use them for evidence later. And then I after like the first 15, 20 minutes, and all of a sudden people I didn't recognize with a lot of brass on their collar started showing up. Mm-hmm. And then it's you could feel it, the dynamics shift from people who cared to people who were just there. So I remember a lieutenant, and I don't remember who it was, came in, and it just felt like the most awkward conversation. I remember some detectives came in, and my ears were still ringing, and they're like trying to interview me from this. But it felt like the interview was like 5 minutes, and they never interviewed me again. And I was kind of bothered by that. I was like, I feel like we should go into more detail once I've had time to reflect and talk about this. Like, for deputy involved shootings, we don't even talk about it for like 72 hours after the incident, because it gives
that's the protocol. Yeah,
it gives you time to reflect, because you have to process things that happen, to go through them.
What was the atmosphere like when the sheriff walked in?
That was an interesting moment. For some reason, I don't know why, but I found humor in what was going on. I don't know if that was just a defense mechanism or what I was going through, but I try to make things funny. So right before he came in, a nurse came in and asked to wash the blood off my face, because my face was still covered in blood. And for some reason, I just laughed, and I was like, no, don't do it. I kind of want him to see what it looks like when the sheriff comes. So when the sheriff and the undersheriff come in, and they see me, the sheriff asked me, hey, how's it going? I was like, and he even remembers what I said when I presented this for the FSA at their leadership conference. I just remember saying, sir, I've had a day. So we talked very briefly. I'd only met Sheriff Mina once, and it was briefly, and it was a very interesting encounter. We were being directed to go to school crossings because we're short on school crossing guards. Mm-hmm. So I was in an area called Tangelo Park near one of the elementary schools helping with school crossings. And I'm a car parked on the side of the road, and it's driving cars past. All of a sudden, this black Tahoe flies in my direction, pulls up right on me. And I'm like, what in the world is this? I actually retreat behind my car and start going oh, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden jumps out the sheriff. And I'm like, sir, how's it going? And he's like, hey, thanks, man. I just want to shake your hand. And he looks down at my name. He's like, Deputy Potts. I'm like, not right, but it's okay. It's A for effort. So he shakes my hand. He's like, I just want to let you know I appreciate you being out here. He jumps back in his car, and they take off. Quick interaction. And that's the entire extent of my interaction with Sheriff Mina before this incident. I was never the guy to and I hope I'm still not. I'm never the guy to try to, go around and be close to leadership and give off that persona. That's just not who I want to come and do the job, because I love this job I do.
Yeah.
So, he comes in and we talk very, very briefly. Maybe all 5 minutes. It's very fast. The undersheriff is also there. It's the first time I've ever met him too. He's a big guy. I don't know if you've ever met Undersheriff Canty. He played football. He's a big guy. So He was a very commanding presence too. I was like, oh, okay. So you have stars, and you have. I was like, this is a lot. And then my sector captain came in, and create a great credence to my sector captain at the time, Captain Scatero. He was so great. He just came with a smile on. He's just and he was very sincere. He's like, whatever you need, man, I want to be there. We're going to be there for you. Make sure you're taken care of. Just great leader, a great captain to work for. I was very excited for that. So, the rest of the brass comes through. A member of us, it is interesting, a member of our CISM team at the time, he's not on our team anymore, actually came in. And I remember him hands me a business card, and he's just like, hey, just call me if you need anything. Very hands-on.
Yeah, and CISM is critical incident stress management. So you guys know. So he gives you the card.
And then he's like, if you need anything, just give me a call. And then he just kind of walks off. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. And so they take all of my uniform. I get stripped down to my underwear and socks. I have nothing on. I'm in a hospital gown and hospital socks. And they take everything with my uniform, including that business card. Everything goes. And I later find out it's going to be destroyed, incinerated. Originally taken for evidence. They photograph it, and then they destroy it. So I don't have that information anymore. I remember,
and that's important when you go home, right? So fast forward, you go home. There's got to be this surreal feeling of being what you've been through, on top of the surrealness of being at the hospital with all the brass people that you never interact with. Your gallows humor, your police humor, your military humor, trying to make sense of it, trying to compartmentalize it and normalize it, and then you go home and who's there waiting on you? In the days that go by, who's there with you?
Just my wife. That's it.
Just you and your wife, right?
Yeah. And I just remember the first 2 days, I didn't sleep for the first 48 hours after this. I was just awake. I sat on the top of I lived at a townhouse at the time. And I sat at the top of the stairs. And for the first day, I was just trying to figure out what just happened. It was a little bit of hypervigilance. I checked the locks on the door a bunch to make sure it was locked. I did that a bunch, and I would constantly flip it from being locked to unlocked, like a lot. Like I wanted it to be locked to feel safe, and there was times I felt trapped and I unlocked it. I had a weird fixation on the lock, and then I just sit on the stairs and for the first day, just try to figure out what's going on. And then day two. And day two was big for me because at the hospital, everybody's like, we're going to reach out. We're going to talk to you. You're not alone in this. We got your back. Be there. Call, whatever you need, we've got you. And there was no phone calls. No one came by. It was very quiet. And
you didn't have your phone either.
No, it was destroyed.
Right.
And unbeknownst to me, I give credit to all that chain, including my sheriff, tried calling and didn't know my phone was destroyed. So, because they weren't made aware of that from the investigator. So that was information that was missed. So they're calling and just assuming that I'm just not wanting to talk to anybody. So they're not making any efforts to call my wife or make any other communication. And on top of that, unbeknownst to me again, I was under a 2-week quarantine because this is new COVID and no one knows the testing protocol. And the rule was to quarantine, if you've been exposed. So no one's allowed to see me for 2 weeks. So
what are you doing in your head? You're digging a hole, right?
Yes. And on the second day, I've never had a suicidal thought in my life, not even an ideation. I've been depressed, of course, but I've never been in a place that dark. And it just felt like a switch flipped, and it was just like, everybody hates me. I failed everybody. I've embarrassed everyone. I'm a disgrace. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be not only in law enforcement. I don't deserve to be a man. I don't deserve to be alive. And it's so weird how so quickly after you survive something so traumatic that I shouldn't have lived in through the first place, that I should not have made it through that. And one of the first things I want to do is kill myself. It doesn't make any sense.
And we'll be right back. Real-time crime centers have become a cornerstone of modern policing, helping agencies connect information faster, improve coordination, and make smarter decisions when seconds matter most. But building or refreshing a center can be complex. Constant Technologies helps simplify the process. Constant has partnered with law enforcement agencies across the country to plan, design, and build real-time crime centers, communication centers, drone operation rooms, and emergency operations centers, spaces that are purpose-built to support today's public safety missions. From American-built operator consoles to advanced video wall systems, we focus on the physical environment and technology infrastructure that brings your data and teams together. Our experienced design team works closely with your agency to create layouts and plans that support current operations and future growth. The result is a command environment where video communications and collaboration come together, helping your team move from reactive to proactive policing. Learn more at constanttech.com and schedule a complimentary design consultation. To get started, contact my friend, Lieutenant Sean Arthur, retired from the Collier County Sheriff's Office, at 239-469-4901. Now back to the show. No, it doesn't. What do we do, JP, when, as human beings, especially as cops, especially former military, when there's misinformation or no information from the top, what do? We fill it, right? We fill the void in information. And as humans, 9 times out of 10, we fill it with negativity. And because you're isolated, you have nobody to verify that off and realize it's not negative. People were trying to give you respect and let you heal. But at the time, all it did was it just dug the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, right?
Right. And
yeah.
I just thinking about it in retrospect, it's heartbreaking because if there was one connecting point that wasn't severed, if I still had my phone, or if they knew that I didn't have access to my phone, or if someone was willing just to throw on a mask and come see me, like something like that, it could have headed this off. But instead, it just, like, Murphy's Law didn't stop after the jail. It kept going. So I made a plan, and my plan was I lived in Hunters Creek, which borders Osceola County and Orange County, but a 10-minute drive south, I would be in Osceola County. So my plan was that I had accepted I didn't deserve to live anymore, and that I had embarrassed everything who I was and who I am. And I hated myself for it. I hated myself.
Yeah.
So I couldn't live with that anymore. So my plan was to go into Osceola County because I didn't want to hurt Orange County or the agency I loved anymore. I wasn't doing it. And I was going to get just not a lot, but a little bit of painter's plastic. And I was going to go to a walking trail nearby. And I was going to call the non-emergency number. And my wife just saying goodbye. And she just call an emergency number and be like, this is where you're going to find me. And because I know how 911 systems operate, so I know non-emergency lines don't get the direct GPS collating data as fast as direct 911 emergency calls. So, and then I was going to use my duty weapon because I wanted it to be my duty weapon because I wanted it to be something that I felt like honor or something with. It doesn't make any sense to say out loud, and I totally understand that. But I wanted to die through that, so that way at least I feel like I was going to peace by my own hand through something I believed in, through what I love, instead of some other cowardly means. Mm-hmm. And even saying that doesn't make any sense either out loud.
But it made sense that day.
Oh yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, talking about it right now, it makes sense to me in retrospect, remembering that. It still does. Just saying it out loud and hearing it and writing it down. Reading it, if coming from someone else, it doesn't make sense, but it does to me.
Yeah.
So, and that was going to be it. And the fortunate part about all of this is that during this process, my weapons and stuff were still in my car. And that was still held at the scene of the incident and being held. So I didn't have access to it. So that mitigated those means unintentionally of me hurting myself.
Yeah.
So a week went by, and no one was really coming by or doing anything. And I remember getting a phone call from our human resources, our current director of human resources, Georgine Ryan. Then I think she was the deputy director, phenomenal woman. And I remember her calling my wife's phone because she was getting an answer on my phone, and she was calling about payroll of all things. And my wife was like, well, he's here, because she was at home at the time. Let me put you on the phone with him. And she's like, hey, someone from the sheriff's office is calling you. And I just felt so excited. It's like, finally, someone someone's calling me, someone's reaching out, someone's want to talk to me. And I get on the phone and it's like, hey, this is Georgine Ray from Human Resources in Orange County. We're just trying to figure out your payroll. And I got so angry so fast and so heartbroken. And she's like, we're trying to figure out if you're on no duty or light duty. He's like, ma'am, I don't care about that. That's not what I'm worried about. Listen, I need help. Something is broken inside of me. I don't know what it is. Please come help me. I'm begging you. Please come help me. She's like, oh my gosh, what? I was like, listen, there's something wrong with me. No one's reached out to me. I need help. Please come help me. I'm begging you. Please come help me. She's like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I will do whatever it takes. I'm so sorry for what I did. I apologize. Just please don't leave me alone. And she's like, just hold on. And I remember I don't know if I was put on hold or she just set the receiver down, but she was back in less than 5 minutes. And she's like, hey, someone's coming out to talk to you. Just wait there. They should be there in about 30 minutes. It's like, okay, just please don't leave me alone. Please send someone. I'm begging you. So 30 minutes goes by and there's a knock on my door and it's the captain I had mentioned who said, keep fighting from part one, from doing the PT, in the circle. And we had never talked since those days in the academy. This is 4 years removed from that. And he had promoted from lieutenant to captain since then. And he's like, oh, hey, Jeff, you might have to come in. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I don't like being called Jeff, just JP, but absolutely, please come on in. So we go upstairs to my little living room and sit down. And he's like, hey, Georgine called me. She's let me know you're having a hard time. You want to tell me what's going on? And I am blatantly honest. I am just so open and so candid because I knew if I wasn't, I was going to get the help I needed. And I felt like this was my one shot to really get someone to pay attention to what I was going through.
Yeah.
To give me some help. So I was just completely open. I'm like, this is just what I'm going through. It's dark. I feel like everybody hates me. I let everybody down. No one cares about me. No one's reached out. And he's like, I promise that's not happening. I'm like, sir, I haven't got a phone call, a text message, not smokes. I mentioned smoke signals, nothing. I feel like no one cares. Even the sheriff said he was going to call me. No one called me. He's like, JP, I promise that's not happening. It's like, sir, he promised. He didn't. I haven't heard anything. I guarantee that's not happening. And it's like, I'll prove it to you. So he goes outside and he's out there for just a couple minutes and he comes back and says like, hey, I have someone on the phone with you. And I pick up the cell phone and it's Sheriff Mina. He's like, hey, Jeff, it's John. And I just remember just losing all control and I just start crying. And as you can tell, this is a man I didn't know as a human being, but he was my sheriff. He was the sheriff of Orange County. And it's not a small agency. We're closing on 2,000 sworn members. Like he's in charge of a massive organization of a lot of people who does a lot of things. And I know he's busy. Every time I talk to him, I mention this to him. He's like, oh, I'm not that busy. He reach out to me anytime. And I was like, sir, come on. It's 2.1 million people you serve in Orange County. There's no way you're that busy.
He's one of the good guys, though. He really is one of the good guys.
Yes. So I just remember crying on the phone for 15 minutes, just sitting there just crying. And this is the man, again, who's the elected chief sworn member of Orange County and who runs this major organization. And he sat and listened to a grown man cry. And my captain sitting over there in a chair, listening to a grown man cry for 15 minutes. Like the emotional and understanding and the leadership, I just floored. So he just listened to that, and as it was done, it's like, sir, I am so sorry. I apologize for everything. I will do whatever it takes. I was just like, just please don't leave me alone. I will do anything. I want to be here so badly. I will do anything you need me to do. And he just goes, Jeff, we're going to do everything we can for you. We will get you whatever you need. I promise we're not going to abandon you. I'm like, sir, I will do whatever it takes. Just please don't do that. I just feel so alone. I'm begging you. The conversation was maybe 30 minutes. And he sent me his personal cell phone number. He's like, reach out to me anytime if you need anything. And so I go back in the living room with this captain. And we sit down, and he's a man of faith, and I am too. And he just, he sat down and he just shared with me. He gave me a little devotional to talk with. So we're sitting there talking and just forming just this relationship. And he's like, and I'm just expressing everything I'm going through. And he's just like, well, listen, we're going to figure this out. We're going to work this together. But give me your word that you're going to reach out to me if you ever go through anything like this in the future. And I'm like, absolutely. I gave my word. I'm just like, just help me. And he's like, absolutely. We're going to figure this out together. But just be honest with me and reach out to me if you need anything. He's like, yep, absolutely. I gave you my word. And I meant that. So as a incredible leader, again, Matt Butler, amazing leader. He, the next time I see him, he comes and picks me up and he takes me to our nearby range. And our range is always busy. Orange County Correctional staff is there. Sworn staff is there. We do regular training there. It's a very busy place. And I remember on this day, they shut an entire side of the range down just for me and him. We get out there. It's my first introduction back to my duty weapon. And he's like, I'm going to trust you with this. And just, like you said, reach out to me if you have any. I was like, absolutely. You have my word. Like, he had bought my respect from such little effort. It sold me. So the first thing we did is we recreated the shooting, the dynamic of the incident by putting barrels up, simulating the desk and where I was at. And we positioned the blue target where the bad guy would be in that theory. And I just remember going through magazine over and over again of the what if the bad guy was there, just magazine through magazine through magazine. And the first couple, felt kind of okay. And then after like magazine 5, 6, 7, it was just kind of like, I just feel like I'm wasting bullets. Like, this isn't changing anything. This isn't helping. This is nothing. I think nothing's changing. Like, I can what if else all day, but this didn't happen. So we went through a couple other, shooting things that was pretty cool, and he taught me a couple things, which was pretty neat. He's an old SWAT guy too, so he had a lot of experience. And then we sat at a picnic table and we talked about, individual character, integrity, leadership, and I expressed, a lot of frustration because when they took my uniform, we used to wear the uniforms with a badge, and you can still wear them, but these are much more comfortable. We used to wear the metal badge on uniforms.
Yeah, that stuff from my day.
I did it too, I promise. And I was frustrated. It's like, they took everything from me. I can't even get my badge back. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I don't know how to get it, but they even took my badge. Like, I can't even get that back. And I just like, I remember that when they did that, I was just like, they took my badge away. Like, am I still a cop? Like, I remember asking him that, like, do I deserve to, I remember asking him, do I deserve to be here? And he said that something so profound. And it was like, you of all people have earned your badge in blood. Like,
yes,
of everybody who deserves to be here, we need people like you here because you're fighting to come back. Like, I was offered medical retirement. I had other job offers in the civilian market. I still do to this day. And it was, he's like, we need you here. Like, we need people of your character here because you're the ones we want out there to, make with that kind of, I feel like I'm talking about myself, and I hate talking about myself like this, but like, I'm highlighting, this is his words. I promise. I'm not trying to I love it to myself, but I don't know. It meant so much coming from him, and
yeah, he was re-imprinting you, JP. He was. There's something called a labyrinth, and a labyrinth is a geometrical shape that's usually on the ground. And in hundreds and thousands of years ago, warriors would go through this labyrinth, walk this maze, and they would be preparing for battle. They'd leave their weapon there, and they would come back in a day or two. And each step they were thinking about their weapon, how they would use it. They were, forecasting how it would use. And at the end of the battle, they would come back and leave their weapon there, and they would leave their trauma there. So what this man was doing was trying to help you re-imprint and remember who you are at your core, that one incident didn't define you. It certainly made an imprint on you, but he's trying to bring you back to the fold and help you remember that you did earn that in blood. So it's, and what he said, I hope you never forget it. So.
And I won't. If I can, I mean, I can go, and if the time allows, I'm happy to go through every part of the step and address every incredible leader and person who's helped me along the way to this day. Because it doesn't take. There's not one day fix. There's nothing you can do in an instant. There's no snap. There's no one long therapy session that makes this better. It sticks with you, and
it's a lifetime.
Yes. And learning how to handle it and learning who to trust and listening to experience. Like, I was fortunate, again, maybe it's my military background or how I was raised or whatever dynamic, but I was fortunate to very quickly learn and listen to experience, and just pay attention to what people were saying, because it mattered a lot to me.
There's another saying too about beware of an old man in a young man's game.
Yes.
Right? So listen to him. But look, we've just recorded a first segment and a second one, and we could probably do two more, but we're running out of time today. But
okay,
what I'd like to say, or have you say, is you've identified so much. There's so much here for a listener to unpack, for me and you to talk about the next time I see you in person too. There's so many lessons, but I want to go back to your share for a second. So things change, right? This has never happened before. You didn't get medically retired. He's been with you every step of the way, right? I mean, and you're back on duty, and I've reached out to him. He is my brother-in-law and him were in the Army together. And they both worked at OPD together. And every time I see him, he's like, "Hey, tell your brother-in-law hello for me." He's that kind of guy, right? And he's been with you, and he's been open about mental health, his own struggles, and he's allowed you to have this platform. And when I reached out to him via email, which is unusual because even I don't like reaching out to a sheriff via email because there's a chain of command. He almost automatically responds instantly, "This request is approved." That's unheard of. That doesn't happen very often. That's what he sees in you. So just in summary, your chapter's not over, your book's not over, but since that incident until today, what's changed in your life, and what do you see going forward?
Obviously, I want to be here, but before this all happened, I never had any aspirations of being anything more than a street deputy. I heard all the stories about what my father and grandfather went through with the bureaucracy of going through the job, and I'm certain to say you have similar experiences. Like, moving up does not make things better. It's different, but it's important to have capable people at the top. So I changed the dynamic of what I want to do in my career, because my direction was I was going to go to our CID unit, be a detective, and do great detective things for the rest of my life, and that was going to be my life. And then after this happened, and after some push, I was like, I have to move up, because I want to be the next Matt Butler in my agency. I want to be there for other guys. So that has been my driving force of doing that, because I want to make sure there's someone there at that capacity, because my sheriff's amazing. And I'm grateful to be where I am and who I work for, but he's not going to be there forever. And I want to make sure there's something in place, depending on whatever dynamic of whatever leadership or whatever administration, that there's always that sounding voice that cares about the men and women that work here. So that is my new driving passion. I mean, I love all the different dynamic units I've been a part of. I've been very, 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 very blessed with the gross amount of opportunities that I've had. And, but that's my future of my life, and what I want to do is I just want to be him for other people, and then as best as I can. And that's why I'm as transparent, as open as I am about it. It's not because I'm proud of what I've done. It's not because I boast. It's because I want people to not be afraid or intimidated about what they're going through. And I don't want people to think that what they have is unique to them. What they've experienced is unique to them. But they don't have to fight through this alone. And there are so many more people out there that are willing to do that for them, show them the ways that they've had success, some of the ways they've not had success. There's always different ways to fix a problem, but to let them know there's always going to be someone in their corner. Like I tell everybody that I work with, I am a phone call, text message away. I'm not going to give you the answers. I might not be the best, the best source for you, but I will be there for you every step of the way. And I will be the first one to tell you I'm right or wrong, but I will be there for you. And that's what matters to me. And that's
and you've shown that. You've shown that every time I've seen you and every time I've seen you present. So in 2026, you're going to be at some of the PCISs, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll see you there. But also for our listeners, what I'd like to do is we're going to go on the road again together in 2026, and we brought Miami-Dade on. They're new members, Sarasota County, and there's other counties that are coming on board. So if somebody wants to hear more about you or to talk to you in person without giving away your contact information, is it best for them to reach out to us and work through me, or through the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association webpage or my email? If a group wanted to speak with you, or do you have how would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely, that's fine. I don't charge or anything like that. I give my time freely. I just want to help or be a resource as best I can. So, and I love partnering with FDSA. This is if you don't believe me, that's fine. When I say this, I've not been coached or taught to say this. I want to know this comes from a place of love. FDSA has been amazing. I've been to 3 of their events that I've presented at, and each time they've had a corporate partner. The big one is I can't name the insurance company, but the gentleman
United Badges Insurance Services.
Oh, what? And the dude that comes every time is so cool. He is such
Alan Durham.
He is Mr. Durham.
Salt of the earth.
Oh my God, what a great guy. And then they take care of the deputies. They bring a bunch of not only resources and information of what FDSA does, depending on what level of membership. I think it's green and gold, the 2 different varying degrees of membership that the agency signed up for. But they feed the guys, and they just let them know that there's another resource out there that cares about them and is focused on the deputies. FSA is great. And quick shout out to Steve Cole. Amazing guy. Love Steve Cole.
Steve's great.
I love Steve Cole. I will back him every single day I can. Amazing guy. But FSA is focused on the sheriffs, as rightfully so. That's their goal, and that's what they should be. And they're focused on that element of the investigation. But it's nice to know there's something out there that cares about us and focuses on us and our well-being, and just a moment of appreciation for you and what you've done, especially coming from your level of leadership over in Volusia, and then coming over here and your level of care and compassion that you have for what you do. It's admirable. So I'm a big fan. That's why I even recently reintroduced you to my agency, and hopefully we're hosting one of my presentations here. And I'm really very much looking forward to it.
Well, thank you. And thanks for all that you do, JP. So in a second, we'll close this out. But listen, if you want to know more about Corporal Jeffery James-Potts, reach out to me at jcreamer@fldeputiesheriffs.org. We'll go to our webpage. There's a question section. You can reach out to me and find out more about him, or when he speaks with us in 2026, we'll have it listed on our training page. So again, JP, thank you. Thank you for listening to The Tactical Pause, the official podcast of the Florida Deputy Sheriffs Association. FDSA proudly serves over 25,000 deputy sheriffs across the state with legal benefits, vital training, and financial assistance in times of need. You can listen to previous episodes at fldeputiesheriffs.org or wherever you get your podcasts. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and encourage your friends, coworkers, and those in the law enforcement community to listen as well. To learn more about the Florida Deputy Sheriffs Association and how we serve those who serve, visit our website at fldeputiesheriffs.org.